Say hello to adrenaline thrills. It's time to visit the places where imagination has no bounds, where our senses are pushed to their limits. Grab your trunks, strap yourself in, and hold on tight. We're embarking on an exhilarating tour of immersive theme parks in England and on the continent. Europe's best fantasy lands. Where do Europeans go when they want to break from the galleries, museums, and monuments? Voila! Just like North Americans, they like to cut loose at theme parks. And we're going to take a look at Europe's best. Our journey of discovery will take us to Europa Park in southern Germany, the living laboratory of roller coaster manufacturer Mack Rides. We'll check out the larger-than-life sights of France's Futuroscope, immerse ourselves in the fairy tale dreams of Holland's Efteling, and dare to challenge the white-knuckle thrill rides of England's Alton Towers. This is a grand European tour with a difference, where the past comes to life in extraordinary new ways. And the adventure begins just south of Barcelona at Spain's PortAventura.
PortAventura is an interesting park. It's built where Disney should have built Euro Disney down in Spain. And it's a lovely, lovely park. It's in the perfect location.
PortAventura really does the theming right. All of their rides have backstories, the setting of the park is beautiful, there's very nice landscaping, and they also have giant roller coasters, which doesn't hurt.
The theme park is divided into 5 lands, each exquisitely themed and landscaped. Visitors enter the park through Mediterranea, which features a small coastal fishing village. Then you can go on a globe-trotting journey to Mayan, Mexico, via the Great Wall of China, the canyons of the Far West, and tropical Polynesia. The lush jungles of Polynesia are home to one of PortAventura's most popular water attractions, Tutuki Splash, where riders plunge from the heights of a smoldering volcano into a thundering splashdown below. And if the riders aren't soaked yet, the spectators will make sure the job is complete. Just around the corner, the dramatic Aloha Tahiti show is a good place to dry off to the traditional music and dance of Polynesia. It's just one of 15 or so live shows in the park.
People on different occasions say, oh, you're going to Barcelona. I said, oh, you have to go to PortAventura. And I said, all right. Then I heard again, and I heard again. And I said, okay, there must be something to it, though.
If you come with kids, I think it's a very good option to say, well, okay, today we spend the day in Barcelona. Tomorrow we go to PortAventura and we enjoy. And I think for kids, it's a very, very good experience.
PortAventura opened in 1995 and was designed as a family park with attractions for all ages.
Anybody with families would find it a godsend for their kids because there's something for everybody here.
And there are some great rides for the younger kids, such as the Tammy Tammy Junior Coaster.
I suppose because I'm a young family man, just watching the kids, just seeing their enjoyment is fun enough for myself.
You'll have to travel to China to ride Dragon Con, a B&M steel hypercoaster with 8 inversions. Dragon Con set a Guinness Book record when it was built, and it's still the loopiest coaster in continental Europe.
It's the best. It's complete loops. You just start off, the first thing brings you up nice and slowly with your feet are going, oh no, what's going to happen now? And then you see this turn, the twist, and then it just shoots right down. And that's not too bad. At first you think it's going to be. Then she hits back up again, goes right around full circle. You're kind of getting okay with it. Then it does a twist on its side, brings you back up and around like that. Back straight for a second, and then sets you off again, more or less similar again. You should see some of the views from up there as well. Unbelievable.
Adjacent to Dragon Con is the Great Imperial Theatre, home to elaborate live shows such as Chinatown, which blends ancient Chinese acrobatics with urban dance moves.
We've got kids ranging from 7 to 15, and there's something for all of them to do as well. So none of them are ever bored.
PortAventura was originally conceived as a joint venture of the Tissot Group, Anheuser-Busch, and Universal Studios. The park's American connections show up in the Wild West area, one of the most elaborately themed districts of any European park. From the high-kicking Can-Can show to the Grand Canyon River Ride, visitors get a fanciful taste of the American Southwest. While the Spanish Cowboy Show is less successful, it is redeemed by the Stampeda, a massive dual-tracked Woody themed as the wildest wagon ride in the West.
This is a dual racing wooden roller coaster, and the cool and unique thing about this is there's very few wooden roller coasters out there. We actually get to race sort of next to your friends and see who'll be the winner, who'll be the loser, get to laugh at the loser, get to cheer if you're the winner.
For even greater thrills, head up to Mexico and test your nerve on the Hurricane Condor, one of the tallest and most heavily themed freefall rides in the world. The 328-foot column rises from the ruins of a Mayan temple.
It's very hard to theme a big, 300-foot tall tower, but they built this great thing on top of it where you kind of get sucked up into it and you drop out of there, so it's kind of crazy.
In a unique twist, riders have 3 choices of vehicles: sit down, stand up, or floorless. No matter what they choose, they head to Earth at 70 miles per hour. Also in Mexico is Templo del Fuego, a thrilling walkthrough attraction where guests explore a forgotten temple and get up close and personal with the wrath of the gods. With its sunny location on Spain's Golden Coast, PortAventura can get quite warm in the summer months. But it's the perfect weather for the Caribe Aquatic Park, which is directly adjacent to the theme park. This massive water park features a large beach and wave pool called the Bermuda Triangle. There's an extensive splash and play area for the younger kids. And for those with an appetite for thrills, there's a large selection of body and raft slides. PortAventura has dark rides, live entertainment, coasters, and an extensive water park. But its real strength is atmosphere. The park's extraordinary theming creates fantasy worlds where imagination runs free. Coming up, Europa Park, Germany's largest theme park and home of Europe's tallest roller coaster. Next on Fantasyland's Europe. Fresh from the exhilarating rides of Spain's PortAventura, our search for Europe's best theme parks now takes us deep into southern Germany's fabled Black Forest region. Here, close to the borders of France and Switzerland, you'll find historic castles, fairy tale villages, and the elegant spa resort of Baden-Baden. But we're not here for the beer, bratwurst, or lederhosen. We've come to experience one of the most beautiful and exciting theme parks in the world, Europa Park. With over 100 attractions and shows, Europa Park is second only to the Cologne Cathedral as the most popular tourist destination in Germany.
Europa Park's actually owned by the Mack family, so they have a lot of Mack rides. They have a Mack bobsled, a Mack Wild Mouse, and a bunch of Mack prototype coasters that were never built anywhere else.
We started in 1780 in Waldkirch, where we started to build wooden carriages for the king and the Kaisers at that time in Germany. In '75, actually, we thought, well, could we find a convention center? Nowadays, you would say a showroom to show your guests what kind of roller coasters you have. That's how actually Europa Park started. We didn't think of it building a theme park at first because we wanted to have a showroom.
Spread out over 160 acres, Europa Park is comprised of 14 themed areas, most representing the distinctive architecture, culture, and vegetation of a different European country or region. From old world experiences like Austria, Italy, and England to the wilds of Adventureland. Visitors start their journey with the half-timbered houses of German Alley, then stroll through the beautiful gardens and dancing fountains of historic Balthasar Castle.
And each land is themed to a different country. So you've got a whole different load of experiences, and even down to things like food and restaurants and shopping. It's a really diverse mix and tries to capture the whole of Europe.
But that's just the beginning. Europa Park has the most extensive collection of family thrill rides on the continent. Roller coasters, bobsleds, dark rides, boat rides, flume rides, wild mice, spinning rides, kiddie rides, bumper cars, and more.
You cannot find fault with Europa Park, and believe me, I've tried. The rides are just spot on. The theming is second to none.
In the France section of the park, you'll find the tallest and biggest roller coaster in Europe. Silver Star, a steel hypercoaster with a 239-foot lift hill and a ride some 4 minutes long.
When you ride Silver Star, your feet don't touch the floor and you only have a lap bar. So a lot of times when you're on the hills, you just feel yourself kind of gracefully lift up out of your seat, and it's a lot of fun.
Silver Star was created by Switzerland's Bolliger and Mabillard and is the only coaster in the park not built by Mack Rides.
It's the highest steel coaster in Europe with 73 meters high. You feel totally free. It's just like similar to flying. It's a perfect ride.
The rest of Europa Park is like a laboratory for the Mack family's imaginative attractions. There's Eurosat, a dark indoor coaster that hurdles riders inside the park's signature dome. In the Russian section of the park, you can visit the original Mir space station, which, after a couple of decades in orbit, now has its feet planted firmly on the ground. Space fans from around the world can imagine what life will be like in the final frontier. Europa Park has created its own tribute to this cosmic outpost, Euromir.
Euromir is this just insane, crazy, bizarre, one-of-a-kind roller coaster where you start out in these spinning cars and you're kind of going through these series of mirrors and sort of floating around, and then all of a sudden, when you don't expect it, the ride gets completely insane and you're flying past all these like big mirror towers and you're spinning around with your friends in the car, and it's a completely like crazy experience like nothing you've ever seen before.
Europa Park is home to 9 roller coasters, each designed for family fun. Whether it's the brand new Pegasus Junior Steel Coaster, the classic mouse ride Matterhorn Blitz, or the Swiss bobsled run, this is a coaster junkie's dream come true. The theme park is located in the warmest region of Germany, and its water rides are extremely popular on hot summer days. At Europa Park, Mack Rides has created some of the most sophisticated and elaborately themed water rides you'll ever experience. Located in the Greek area, Poseidon is a unique combination of water ride and roller coaster. Starting off in a massive temple, it's an attraction where old and new clash in a fantasy of color, light, and adrenaline. Europa Park's newest water attraction is Atlantica Super Splash, located in the Portuguese area. This state-of-the-art ride reaches heights of 30 meters and speeds of 80 kilometers per hour. This is one wild trip that jolts and surprises riders with a raft of unexpected moves.
Europa Park is my personal favourite park in the continent, as I think a lot of coaster enthusiasts would agree with me, because it's just got a really broad mix of rides. Everything from roller coasters to sort of smaller rides that everyone loves going on.
The little ones have their own section of the park, Children's World, where they can paddle canoes and ride bumper boats. In the Nordic-style playground, kids can climb a tower and cascade down the giant slides, while their moms chill out nearby. Europa Park offers exciting live shows in abundance, each themed to a European country. Spain has a spectacular gladiator stunt show. Switzerland showcases the acrobatic excellence of world-class ice skating. England has its Globe Theatre, and Italy its Teatro dell'Arte. Passionate dancers, glamorous variety, and sensational acrobatics, Europa Park has it all on 20 stages. Attracting over 3 million visitors a year, Europa Park has grown into one of Europe's largest resort destinations. The European theming of the park has been extended into 3 themed hotels, such as the Spanish El Andaluz with its lush landscaped courtyard, and the Castillo Alcazar, a medieval Spanish castle. The latest addition is the Colosseo, which invites guests to enjoy the charming atmosphere of Italy. Like a little slice of Vegas in the Black Forest, the Colosseo features a combination of Roman styling and modern conveniences, including a lavish swimming area with historical detailing. The inner courtyard is dominated by a 30-meter-high fountain the kids will love. They can run, jump, and get wet all at the same time. Inside, the over-the-top Italian theming is carried on in the rooms themselves. As Germany's largest theme park, Europa Park is an action-packed, beautifully themed playground of rides, shows, and attractions that transport visitors into a world of fun, entertainment, and fantasy. Coming up, visions of the future and robots that dance at France's Futuroscope. Next on Fantasyland's Europe. European theme parks offer a kaleidoscopic range of experiences. From the adrenaline rush of extreme thrill rides to the children's fantasy of classic fairy tales. Whether you're seeking hot shows or cool splashdowns, these Fantasylands deliver unforgettable sensations. And now for something completely different, Futuroscope, a French theme park dedicated to the future of the moving image and interactive entertainment. The park was founded in the late 80s with the ambitious aim of harnessing the future. And today, the futuristic buildings of Futuroscope are a surreal sight in the pastoral landscape of southwest France.
Futuroscope doesn't have particularly big rides, but it is one of my personal favourites, largely because of the architecture. Each building has been designed with some sort of specific architectural feature in mind, and that sort of just goes along with the whole theme of the park, which is technology and film, and it just generates a visual feast for the eyes.
Inside these strange buildings are immense screens that transport visitors into realms of nature, science, and technology. Some of the films surround viewers with 360-degree vision, while others blend 3D animation with motion simulator seating to create out-of-this-world interactive experiences.
We know that we are one of the largest places of IMAX in the world, but we're not only one of the largest, we are one of the most unusual, because we sometimes even make IMAX in 3D and dynamic cinemas, so it's really a place where we don't forget that people are here to get a good time and really experiencing certain technology that they don't see anywhere else.
Futuroscope is a showcase for a variety of IMAX films, a Canadian-developed format that projects images 10 times the size of conventional 35mm film, creating scenes 8 stories high. At Futuroscope, you can experience IMAX Dome, where the massive screen is projected onto a tilted dome screen. IMAX 3D, which uses 2 camera lenses to create a sense of depth. And IMAX Solido, which presents huge stereoscopic images on a wraparound screen. 3D images that extend in front, above, and beside the viewers. The IMAX Magic Carpet Theater utilizes 2 IMAX projectors and 2 giant screens. One is in front of the audience, and the other is visible through a transparent floor underneath. Enhanced by directional sound, it is a breathtaking experience.
It was just beautiful because you have big whales and the screen is just so large, and it was really enjoyable. You do feel like you're on the boat looking down into the water, you know, it's just fabulous.
Blending art and technology, entertainment and education, Futuroscope has created attractions that explore our evolving relationship with robots of every kind. There are giant interactive robotic insects. There's a robot artist that will draw your portrait. And there's even a robotic dog show.
It's really something that is very important nowadays, the place of the robots. And the point is, you as a human being, think about where is your place. Is your place in the robot world, or are the robots, do they have a place in the human world?
Then there's the park's latest and most outrageous attraction, Dances with Robots, a thrill ride involving 7-meter-high robots in a high-tech nightclub setting. The robots are inspired by the robotic manipulator arms used in automotive manufacturing.
When it starts to look like a human, then people easily believe that it could be like a human being, otherwise not. Like this Dancing with Robots, they were just like industrial robots, in fact. But because the children were sitting on top of that robot arm, then they became like a human being. And it was very nice to see how the robot can move according to how the music is playing in the background. And then also the kids were yelling in the right places.
Star of the Future takes a completely different approach to interactive technology, as visitors become actors in a film studio. First, visitors are given an ID badge, which gives them access to various auditions in the film's casting process. Here, their acting talents are put to the test.
Au début, on nous demande de faire certains mouvements, mais on ne sait vraiment pas pourquoi, donc on fait les choses.
There were a lot of different things to do, and it was all new to us. Sometimes we were in the dark and we weren't sure where we were. They showed us a story and put us in different situations, and they filmed our reactions while we were watching the actors perform. We had a great time.
Then they board traveling pods and travel behind the scenes of 8 different film sets, where they discover the technical tricks used in the cinema, including lighting, sound, and special effects. At the ride's conclusion, visitors' audition scenes are automatically inserted in the film's trailer.
It was something I'd never experienced before, and it was a lot of fun.
As evening descends, the buildings take on an unearthly glow, and crowds assemble for the open-air evening show, The Forest of Dreams, a spectacular multimedia experience presented on Futuroscope's enormous 7,000 square meter water stage.
The show integrates a lot of different technologies: film projectors, lasers, pyrotechnics, fire, water, video projectors, and computer graphics.
Moving images are projected onto 3 gigantic screens comprised of high-pressure sheets of water. Characters appear both on the water screens and a matrix of high-resolution LCD screens at the water's edge.
We create a sense of magic, a sense of wonder for the audience, and we put them in a different world.
It's a breathtaking finale to France's unique multimedia tribute to tomorrow, Futuroscope. Coming up, we move from high-tech to high-touch at Holland's amazing Efteling theme park. Next on Fantasyland's Europe. We've conquered the wild Dragon Con and chilled out at Spain's Portaventura. We've soared on the crazy coasters of Germany's Europa Park and danced with robots at France's Futuroscope. Now, our search for Europe's most imaginative theme parks takes us deep into the Netherlands, south of busy Amsterdam, into the heart of Holland. We've come to visit the largest and most popular theme park in the Netherlands, Efteling.
Efteling's a really beautiful park. A lot of Efteling is built around storybooks. There's a lot of fun family things to do there. They have a really fun bobsled coaster. They have what's called a junior wooden coaster, which is mainly built for kids, and it's a lot of fun to get them up to the bigger rides. It's also just a beautifully landscaped park. There's flowers everywhere. There's water fountains. There's a beautiful lake in the center of the park. It's very nice.
Every year, this world of wonders attracts over 3 million visitors. Efteling is more than a theme park, it's a Dutch institution. Over 90% of Dutch adults have visited Efteling, an average of 7 times each.
It's a very cultural thing, and when Canadian or North Americans are coming over to visit their friends, family, they have to be in Efteling because then they know Holland.
Bit of a Dutch culture thing as well. It's not only adventure and go for a weird feeling in your stomach, but it's the whole experience. It's really like you're all day in some kind of dreamland or something.
The Fairy Tale Forest is the oldest area of the park. It's home to recreated fairy tales from authors like Hans Christian Andersen and the Brothers Grimm, which are brought to life through animatronic effects.
Walt Disney was here in 1953. He loved the landscaping and how we developed in our fairy tale forest with that.
Here, different generations learn and share the timeless tales of Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, Rapunzel, and Sleeping Beauty.
I was told famous fairy tales in my childhood, and when I went to the Efteling it was exactly what I imagined, and now I show my children because I liked it when I was a child very much.
Designed by Anton Pieck, a master painter, engraver, and woodcarver, the characters and attractions are straight out of a children's storybook. The attention to detail is remarkable. And unlike the plastic and fiberglass of most theme parks, Efteling's castles and cottages are built from actual brick, timber, and thatch.
When I came here before, we were 4 sort of 20-year-olds, and we had fantastic time. So, and I think there's always a bit of child in everybody anyway, isn't there?
Efteling's talking garbage gobblers are an imaginative creation, and kids love using them. As a result, the park is immaculate.
Papier here. And he says, papier here, paper here. And sometimes he says, thank you. Oh, sorry about that.
Rising up above the forest in a flying pagoda, you can get a high-level view of the entire park with its lush gardens and magnificent landscaping.
You've got trees everywhere and grass, and everywhere is a really landscaped park and lakes. And it's just a really nice place to be in, and it makes the attractions really nice to be on. Even if they're not really thrilling, it's just nice just to be on them and look around. It's a great landscape park.
Spread over 700 forested acres, Efteling is divided into 4 themed areas, each with a different character. There's the fairy realm, the travel realm, the alternative realm, and the adventure realm.
Efteling is known for all of its dark rides, rides like Dream Flight, where you're sort of floating above, the world and kind of floating above the clouds and what the world would be like and if you got to see into your dreams and what that world and what that experience would be.
Fata Morgana is another attraction unique to Efteling. Visitors enter through an exotic palace. Then they climb aboard boats and travel through one of the most sophisticated dark rides in the world. It's a 1001 Nights themed voyage through an elaborate animatronic wonderland into the heart of a sultan's harem. The Efteling Theater is located nearby, and it's one of the largest theaters in Holland. The Efteling Fairy Tale Show is an elaborate musical production based on the stories of Hans Christian Andersen. Efteling might seem like it's geared to the very young, but it's got a range of attractions to satisfy people of all ages, including some very unusual thrill rides. This enormous bird is actually the entrance to Vogelrock, an exciting indoor roller coaster. With its startling lighting and sound effects, the ride incorporates a storyline about a giant predatory bird. Via Volta combines a madhouse with a swinging gondola ride to create amazing effects. As the ride builds to its dramatic conclusion, the entire room begins rotating.
It has the best dark rides in the world. It has a ride called Villa Volta, best dark ride I've ever been on. It has a great selection of that sort of ride for the family.
Efteling's Adventure Realm delivers white-knuckle thrills to the adrenaline seekers. Here you can find the biggest swinging ship ride in the world. And there's a couple of great coasters too, such as the Python.
Python was Europe's first 4-inversion coaster that was built. That is 25th anniversary this year, and it's still running strong.
This intense coaster was built by Holland's own Vekoma Rides. The fantasy continues at the Efteling Hotel, which features a variety of themed suites, such as the Flying Dutchman, where you can spend the night in the legendary ghost ship. Then there's the Arabian vision of the Fata Morgana suite, with its rotating bed and exotic atmosphere. Pardoes, Efteling's jester-like host and mascot, has his own fanciful suite. But most likely you'll find Pardoes out in the park itself, helping to create the magical atmosphere of Holland's favorite theme park, Efteling. Next, it's time to strap yourself in and fly over rivers of blood at England's remarkable Alton Towers.
Anytime there's going to be a river of blood, you know there's something scary about to happen.
Coming up on Fantasyland's Europe. European theme parks offer an incredible range of imaginative attractions and experiences. But hardcore adrenaline junkies find their way to England to experience the thrills they crave. Our journey now heads north of London to the UK's most famous theme park, Alton Towers.
Alton Towers is one of the classic theme parks in Britain. You can't really beat it. It's got a mix of rides for the entire family, right down from really thrilling roller coasters to sort of more family-themed rides. And they've successfully mixed thrill rides with gardens, and they're really nice to be in.
Many guests choose to stay in the Alton Towers Hotel, which has been imaginatively designed as a tribute to the genius of eccentricity. To start your day, head over to the Kariba Creek Water Park, one of the largest water parks in Europe. With its Caribbean theming, this huge lagoon always has a tropical flavor. There's a great selection of slides and rides, from gentle whirlpools and play areas to the Master Blaster, the fastest water coaster in the UK. The history of Alton Towers dates back to an ancient fortress. But visitors don't come for a history lesson. They come for the rides. Rides like Nemesis, an intense inverted coaster whose track often runs below ground level, adding a unique element of danger to the ride experience.
Nemesis is my favorite ride at Alton Towers. Nemesis is usually known as the most intense experience on the planet. There are several times on Nemesis where you're pulling about 5 Gs, which means if you weigh 100 pounds, you now weigh 500 pounds. And just that feeling of going in and out of the trenches and being glued to your seat is just, it's intense.
They built this back in 1994. They blasted through the earth because they wanted to get this sort of feeling where the alien would be crawling up out of the rock. It's one of the few rides out there where you just have this sort of like overall feeling of flight.
Your legs are dangling on Nemesis. You just feel your feet tingling as all the blood's rushing to them as you're going upside down and right side up and going around the giant alien and pools of blood beneath you. The rivers of blood are great. You see it right below your toes. You know you're in a really good, intense, themed attraction.
Located in the X Sector area of the park, Oblivion was the world's first vertical drop roller coaster. As each car reaches the drop, it's suspended in place for several seconds, adding terror to the impending plunge into the mist.
The thing that makes Oblivion so cool is there's not a lot of roller coasters out there that actually have a vertical 90-degree drop. So it's one of the few rides out there that you can actually get, like, you know, that moment of pure sort of verticalness, if that's like a real like word.
You get used to every coaster, but I can't get used to Oblivion. It's this rush when you're at the top, looking down, and then suddenly it flips and you go. It's my adrenaline rush every time.
The drop coasters are really exciting because it's just straight down. You don't touch your seat the entire time. You're dropping down, and it's almost like free fall because you're just kind of floating around in your seat until you hit the pull-out on the bottom.
Air is a completely different type of experience. Located in the Forbidden Valley area, this flying coaster offers a fluid and exhilarating experience in comparison to terrifying rides like Nemesis and Oblivion.
It's a coaster where you start off and you're sitting down and you're kind of looking around going like, this is pretty comfortable. And then all of a sudden you hear the words, "Prepare for air."
It's very interesting because you get in, you sit down just as if you were on Nemesis, but all of a sudden it kind of raises you butt first up in the air, and now you're in the flying position. It's such a great feeling being in that flying position because it's like in your dreams when you feel like you're a bird, and it's a very common dream to be able to fly, and on this ride you really can fly.
Rita, Queen of Speed, the latest roller coaster, is ironically located in Ugland, the prehistoric themed area of the park.
Rita kind of has this sort of fun and funky, it's race cars over here, it's rock and roll music over there. If you want to launch from 0 to 55 miles an hour as quickly as possible, that's what Rita's all about.
Elaborately themed around a drag race, Rita was the brainchild of Werner Stengel, the legendary German roller coaster designer responsible for many coaster innovations.
It launches you into these series of really banked turns, and you dip in and out of the trees, and you actually go in and out of one of the other roller coasters at the park, Corkscrew. So it's a lot of fun.
Rita reaches speeds of 100 kilometers an hour in 2.5 seconds and never slows down. For those seeking less intense experiences, Alton Towers has thoughtfully provided a good selection of family and children's rides. You can enjoy the castle, the park's gardens, and the pleasant landscaping. Or you can simply catch your breath and head back for more adrenaline thrills on the most extreme coasters in Europe. Next, in our exciting finale, we head down to the sunny Costa Blanca for a hot Spanish doubleheader. Aqualandia, and the mysterious ancient worlds of Terra Mythica. Fresh from the extreme coasters of Alton Towers, we're traveling south to sunny Benidorm on Spain's Costa Blanca. This is a popular holiday retreat for Brits. But when they tire of the beach, there's another refreshing spot to cool down. Aqualandia is an enormous water park with 14 pools, 27 water slides, and 10 play areas for kids. Located on a wooded hillside just above Benidorm, the park features some of the steepest water slides in Europe. The highest slide, the Big Bang, reaches a height of 30 meters. The thrills come in all shapes and sizes, from competitive mat slides to half pipes to fully enclosed tubes. With some of these, you just might want to have your lunch later. With lots of trees and shady trails, Aqualandia provides some respite from the strong Spanish sun. The lengthy Rapids tube ride makes great use of the park's terrain as it gently cascades down the slopes. The lagoon is the deepest attraction in the park, and it offers a variety of more interactive experiences. Refreshed and renewed, it's time to head across town for our final destination, Terra Mythica, a unique Spanish theme park which opened in 2000.
You have enough time on the sand and on the sea, so here you come and have some rides and fun with your family, which is really good.
Terra Mythica is notable not just for the attractions in the park, it's really got an overwhelming sense of architecture, and it feels like you're in these mythical lands. They're trying to create castles and ancient cities. It's a really beautiful park to be in.
You can actually be transported back into the ancient civilizations of the Mediterranean. The theming is that good. You'll actually believe that you're in one of the temples in ancient Egypt or in Greece. You actually can sort of stroll along the Acropolis and also enjoy rides at the same time.
The land of myths, Terra Mythica is divided into 5 zones, each themed on legendary civilizations of the Mediterranean. Ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, Iberia, and the Greek islands. The level of realism is unusual for a theme park. Design motifs are intricately executed, and real marble is used extensively throughout Terra Mythica.
It's the best amusement park I've visited so far. Just a thrilling experience, really.
The Colosseum we have, in fact, it's a life-size replica of the real Colosseum.
Inside, there's an elaborate live show featuring gladiators and legionnaires. But the rides are the real draw, and Terra Mythica delivers.
They have a wooden coaster that's kind of built onto this cliff, and it's a really aggressive ride, but it's kind of interesting because of the location.
Cascading across the rocky landscape, it speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour. Rome's Magnus Colossus is an impressive wooden coaster with an unusual split first drop. Over in the Iberia section, you'll find Tizona. This suspended looping coaster from Vekoma features a double inline twist. Named after the sword of El Cid, Tizona is a killer. Terra Mythica offers some excellent water and flume rides, which are a great way to cool down in the hot Spanish sun. You can also ride the giant flying frisbee. Not exactly a feature of the ancient world, but a lot of fun nonetheless.
Oh, it was great. It was great. You get dizzy after you tried it, but it was great fun.
In the Greek area, you'll discover one of the most elaborate interactive dark rides in Europe. The Labyrinth of the Minotaur with its skeletons, dinosaurs, and assassin dogs. Through its elaborate ancient theming and sophisticated thrill rides, Terra Mythica brings the past and the future together in a world of mythic experiences.
A good place. It's lots of fun. You can spend a good day. Lots of rides for all age groups. It's a good place.
Combining imaginative architecture, sophisticated storytelling, live shows, and white-knuckle roller coasters. Europe's best theme parks open up new worlds of entertainment in an old world setting. These are the places where we are dazzled by fantastic sights and sounds. These are the spaces where we scream for our very lives. Where we are shocked by amazing experiences and powerful emotions. Where fantasy reigns supreme. These are Europe's best fantasy lands.